I wanted to make a video real quick because I don't read long posts, even honestly from people that I respect. If it's too long, then I just try and glean from it. So I'm going to try and keep this short. But and I don't talk as much since being on cab because I found that it was a distraction and I just needed to focus on other things. But there's a lot going on in the business right now. We're in this transitional period. And a lot of us, who, myself included, who were very successful under one way that the business was running, are struggling now. But the thing that we have to understand is that everything evolves. This business evolves. And so, Beachbody, if it's the atmosphere, right? And say we're the dinosaurs, because I like analogies, and right now I'm a T-Rex walking around with a bunch of other T-Rexes, who used to be kicking ass back in the day, and we're like, man, sure is getting cold, and wondering what we're going to do about it. We need the weather to change. We need the weather to go back the way it was, but it's not going to go back the way it was. So we have to change, because the thing is that this business model isn't broken. Beachbody's not broken because there's all these, little mammals running around with these T-Rexes, and they're killing it. They're on stage and they're throwing down, 40 to 100 points a month or something like that, because they either evolved or they came in after the transition started. So we have to realize that the problem isn't Beachbody. I mean, there's stuff that can be fixed, right? And cab and corporate are working on those things to be fixed, but it's not going to go back how it was in 2015 or 2014. And some of these founding coaches who are leaving the business or talking about leaving the business, or the business is in trouble. The business isn't in trouble. The way that people were doing things has to change. And, if we're being honest, if I'm being honest, I compounded the problem with the changes because I got complacent. I was like, I remember saying, what? I could not work another day and I would earn blank for the rest of my life. And, I'm still working and I'm earning less than that blank that I put in there because I was short-sighted. I didn't understand or see the changes that I needed to make as other things were changing. On-demand changed things, but it was something that had to happen. The atmosphere around us is changing, and we can either adapt and change with that, or we can go the way of the dinosaurs, or like I commented, we can go the way of Blockbuster. Blockbuster sat around and we're like, we had a store on every corner. It doesn't matter. Redbox, who cares? That's no big deal. Netflix, who cares? That's no big deal. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing that I've always been doing. And there's no Blockbuster anymore. And so I don't want to be Blockbuster. I don't want to be T-Rex either. I need to change to adapt to the new environment that I'm living in. I have to do things. I have to learn from these new coaches who are killing it, because they are proof that this business still works if you do it right. And, if we're just being honest with ourselves, we can't look to Carl and the other people and say, we need you to change the atmosphere because this isn't working for us. Because if I'm a businessman and I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but these are changes that I had to make. And you know what? I've got this new crop of people who they're coming in and they're making it work. So instead of going backwards to accommodate the dinosaurs, I'm going to focus on what's working now. And that's just good business sense. I haven't run a big giant company, but that's just the way that things work in my head. The other thing that I would say, some of these new coaches, the mammals, if you will, right, who are thriving in this environment, they messaged me, and I'm sure they're messaging some of the other dinosaurs, right? That they're like, oh my gosh, should I be worried? Should I be worried? And no, you shouldn't be worried, because you're kicking ass. But what you need to do is you need to learn from the problems that we're having now. You can't get complacent. If things start not working, or if things stop working, then you have to fix it then, because it's this thing is like a big giant boat, and And as it turns super slowly, you know, you start to notice and you're like, oh my gosh. And then when the boat's going in exactly the wrong direction, now you realize, oh, I gotta really start changing. The warning bells are going off and people are talking about, oh, I gotta get a job and, you know, things that I'm having to consider now too. But the reason is because when the boat was turning around, I was like, okay, well, it's just gonna turn back around the other way. But it hasn't for me yet. And that's on me. You know, I can't speak for other people, but I can't come on here and say, oh, you know what, I've been working the business as hard or harder than I was in 2015, because I wasn't. I got complacent and stopped doing the things that were working, on top of the fact that some of the things that were working aren't working anymore. And so now my boat's going in the wrong direction, and it's going to take a long time to turn it back around to go the other direction. And so I can't bitch about the environment. I can't bitch about these things that have to happen. You know, the business and the atmosphere is always going to evolve. The question is, you know, what are we going to do to stay with that? And, you know, for these new coaches who are coming to me and they're saying, you know, that they're having success, but they're worried. You have to learn from us. Don't be complacent, right? Don't be complacent. Don't spend all your money, right? Don't just spend your money and then just be like, when it starts turning the other direction, you're like, oh, I don't have any money. You know, my Beachbody money has gone down and now I can't afford these things that I used to afford. So, you know, live well below your means and save that money and save it for save it for transitions, save it for evolutions. Put yourself in a position to where when you do have to evolve, you can evolve. You can afford the transitional periods, because it's going to come. You know, right now it's right now for a lot of us that have been around for a long time. I've been a coach for like 8 years, you know, and I was foolish in a lot of the stuff that I did, as far as, you know, my finances are just getting complacent. And now I'm paying the consequences for that. And I'm trying to turn this boat around. But for you new coaches who are kicking ass and things are working, learn from that and don't find yourself in our position when this business changes again in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because it will. And so don't be like the dinosaurs that we are right now, walking around saying, oh my gosh, it's cold, the atmosphere needs to change. It's not the atmosphere that needs to change. The atmosphere won't change. You know, the dinosaurs are going extinct. Now, there's some people, you know, that were kicking ass then and they're kicking ass now. And you know what? Let's call them crocodiles. Crocodiles been around for billions of years, right? And they thrived in that scenario, and they're thriving in this scenario. I'm not a crocodile. Wish I was, but if you look at the top 10 list or the top 50 list, there's some crocodiles up there. And you know, it's kind of weird. Maybe some of these really attractive ladies who are killing it don't really want to be called a crocodile, but you know, that's the way this analogy is working. So congratulations to the crocodiles. If we're talking about evolution and wanting to be around for a long time, a crocodile is not a bad thing to be. I don't want to be a T-Rex or something like that. I plan on being around a long time too. So I have to do these things that I need to do to make this business work. And for the new coaches, don't spaz out, don't get afraid, don't live in fear of, oh my gosh, it could happen to me, but be smart and learn from those of us who, you know, were really thriving and now we're not, and say, okay, what is it that they did or didn't do that put them in that position, so that I can, you know, change my game plan, so I can do things or not do things that they did. The business model still works, okay? I mean, it's got some stuff to improve, and it's easy to you know, point our fingers at somebody else or something else and say it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault. But I'm not going to do that. You know, things were easier when I could sell, you know, hard programs with, you know, or you know, discs with everything, and I could sell people challenge packs every 3 months or every 4 months. But that's not the reality that we live in now, and that's not the way that this business is going to go, no matter how bad we want it to go that way. So, I'm going to try and transition myself into a crocodile, and I'm going to encourage all of these new coaches that are killing it to keep doing what you're doing, because it's working. But pay attention to what's happening to this old people right now, and don't find yourself in this spot in 4 or 5 years. Beachbody's going to be around. It's not going anywhere. Carl and John and Michael and Jeff and all of those people, they're good people and they want good things for us. But the vehicle has to survive. The atmosphere has to survive so that everybody can survive. We can't change it just for us dinosaurs. So I don't know. I guess I'm saying, if you're a dinosaur, then make yourself a crocodile. And if you are a mammal and you're kicking ass right now, then keep doing it. But pay attention, because this change happens slowly. This business doesn't grow overnight. This business doesn't die overnight. But it takes a long time to turn that boat around. I thought this was going to be more eloquent, but I'm about to help help some people load a band truck, so I got to go. But I had a few minutes, so I figured I'd throw this video out there. I hope that it helps some people, and hope that you guys make the changes that you need to make to reach your goals and to help other people keep reaching their goals, because that's what this is about. That's why I got into it. Well, all right, I'm about to go off on another tangent. That's not why I got into this, but it's why I stayed in this. And so if I want to keep helping other people and myself and my family, then I've got to evolve. I can't look at corporate and tell them, that they need to devolve so that I can keep doing things the way that I used to be doing them. My 2 cents, guys. Go out there and kill it. Be a crocodile or a mammal.